Sorry, just looking at my hair. Okay, guys. So, right now I wanted to make a video about thoughts. So, I struggle with my thoughts a lot. Sometimes it's rough, sometimes it's not. And I actually first became aware of my thoughts. I want to say my maybe like senior year of high school. And I know it sounds weird if you're not someone who is aware of your thoughts yet. Like you're like, oh, I don't really think. Like conscious involvement and awareness, right? So when I first became aware of my thoughts, I was like really freaked out. I was like, oh my God, like I think all these negative things. I think all these terrible things, like what's wrong with me? And that's when it started. Self conflict, inner conflict, it started. I didn't know what was available to me. I was not yet evolved in a higher conscious of my spiritual growth and awareness. So I just thought that this is what life is like, and it's interesting. I had so many stressful thoughts that actually gave me physical pain. Like I would have like panic attacks. I would be sweating. I would have headaches. I would just be clammy. I had all these things, and I actually went to see a psychologist. Yeah, psychologist, because psychologists don't prescribe medicine. So I went and saw a psychologist. This was maybe in 2008 or so. So I'd been struggling with my thoughts, and I had post-traumatic stress disorder from being in a car accident. So I was just like a fear of being in cars and all these fears. I like created all these fears. So they diagnosed me with obsessive thought disorder. So, if you're ever familiar with OCD, people who have to like, maybe tap themselves 3 times before they leave the door, or, you know, look at something 100 times before they feel like it's right, or wash their hands all day, so there's also something internally in the mind called obsessive thought disorder. Okay. So that's what they diagnosed me as. And I just like didn't want to talk about it with anyone. We did a lot of cognitive behavioral therapy, which worked really, really well for me because it dug into the subconscious mind to release a lot of my fears. And I was going to therapy and, kind of learning a lot about myself throughout this process. And I've always been really strong in the mind, but certainly stronger than ever. At this point in my life, I just didn't feel like this was the answer, if that makes sense. I didn't feel like this was the only way. I felt as though, sorry, I keep moving because like the sun is like so bright. I felt like there was another alternative, I guess you could say. So my doctor had suggested taking Klonopin for obsessive thoughts and referring me to someone that could prescribe me with that. I remember I was getting ready to go to Vegas and I was having panic attacks about having a panic attack on an airplane, like, and being like stuck. Right? I had like severe panic attack, guys. Like, and if you've ever had one, you think you are freaking dying. It is like the worst experience ever. Like, oh. And I remember she had referred me to get me prescribed to Xanax, not like like a whole bottle. It was like 1 or 2 pills to take with me to go on my trip because I was terrified about being in a plane for 5 hours. Like, terrified. So anyways, I ended up going on the trip, and I was so anxious on the plane that I couldn't even take the Xanax because I didn't know how it was going to make me feel. And I was scared to take something and be out of, like, not be in control and be far away from my family and stuff. I was like 22 at the time. Yeah. Yeah, it was really, really stressful, scary. So I had taken the Xanax and feel good. And I felt like I don't feel right taking this. Like, something in me, it's so funny. It was like my higher consciousness already like getting me ready. And I was like, yeah, it takes away the anxiety, but it doesn't take away the thoughts, like there's something deeper here, and I couldn't figure it out. So I actually at that point decided to no longer accept it. I had only taken Xanax, half a pill, for God's sakes, once, or I think once or twice. And I just didn't like it. I just didn't. And I felt like I could overcome my stress and anxiety on my own. And my panic attacks totally cured. Anxiety, I get anxiety about certain things, but uncontrollably, because I realize that anxiety is only in the mind, right? And I know it sounds so weird, but at the time, I used to watch, God, what was that show? Oh, Jersey Shore. And I remember on the show, oh, by the way, I never talked to anyone about this. It was just like my family. I kept it secret for like, I don't know, like 6 months before I was like, called my mom one day and I was like, I don't know what this is, but I'm freaking out. So anyways, yeah. So I was watching Jersey Shore, and Vinny actually was having like severe panic attacks and anxiety attacks. And I remember there's this whole episode on it and nobody understood, but I understood. And I felt such relief in seeing that, because I was like, oh my God, there's other people. And I never thought like, duh, let me like Google people who struggle with anxiety. And I found all these, forums and all these websites about how anxiety is a blessing for them, and they learn so much about themselves. So at that moment, I started to change the way I think about panic attacks and anxiety. And I automatically felt relief. And I felt like, wow, I can't believe it. Like there's other people in this world that are going through what I'm going through. So I started my quest to cure myself naturally with anxiety. And I have a whole host of scenarios, things that I'll discuss with you along the way. But anxiety and thoughts are going to be a huge, huge and hot topic for my channel. I have dealt with so many fearful thoughts in my life, things that are not even real, that I create in my thinking mind to protect myself from a whole host of things. And it's fun. Anyways, I wanted to kind of just preface that a little bit on some things I'm going to talk about. And also something that I just started doing recently. It's been referred to me by my healer several times, but sometimes in life you just do things when it's the right time for you.